Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Punch Man, Season 2, Episode 11. So, last time we left off, Garo was surrounded. He's been injured in his fight against Watchdog Man, and had to run away. Well, and I think, fights with others as well, including Metal Bat. So he was hiding out in this, little abandoned building that was being used as a kind of secret hideout for these kids, including the one kid that Garo had, as I've been putting it, made friends with, though technically not. But Garo actually does seem to care about him to a degree. So the heroes end up catching wind of him and following him to the secret hideout building, and they surround it. So he has the kids stay inside for safety and comes out to confront them. And he tries to fight back or even just escape, but no, their defenses are just way too strong for him in his current state. Now, if Garo were full health and everything, he'd be able to take them, no question. But the fact is, he's not. He's injured. He's not in good shape at the moment. So he's having trouble. And I like that. I mentioned this last time. I like that we're getting this kind of humanization for one of our main antagonists. At the moment, Garo is a main antagonist. You could even say just straight up villain. But I like that we're humanizing him. This show is known for these larger-than-life baddies, these larger-than-life monsters, who are just so cliche and over the top. And that's kind of the point. And there's nothing wrong with that because this is a parody series. But having one of our main antagonists, who has been built up since Season 1, end up being this human, this, in a lot of ways, relatable and believable, is fascinating. Because you'd see that in other shows. There's plenty of other shows where you get villains and antagonists who are believable and relatable and just have these kinds of real connective personalities and stuff. Like, yeah, you'll get that a lot. But it's like you almost didn't expect it here. But that's a very good thing. Because even though it's different from everything we've gotten so far, it works with how Season 2 is going. Season 2 is a lot different than what we've gotten before it. It's taking a more serious tone. It's taking things more seriously. From the enemies to the heroes themselves, the stories, everything is being taken more seriously. I heard someone mention, and I kind of echoed this as well myself, I think it was on the last reaction, but I heard someone mention this on Twitter as well, and I'm not sure who. I have a couple of guesses, but I'm not sure. They basically said that with the first season of One Punch Man, or actually it might have been Giguk in his video on Season 2, but with the first season of One Punch Man, it's this big parody. You have Saitama, who just takes everything out in one punch. Even when other heroes are fighting and stuff, you know Saitama's going to come in and take it out. And that's fine, but you can't do that forever, because then the formula will feel, well, like a formula. It'll feel just way too predictable, and it will lose its luster. It'll lose what makes it cool. So you have to change things up. So Season 2 introduces a lot of new concepts. It starts bridging into a more serious show. Rather than just being a parody, it becomes its own entity. It becomes more than just a joke. It becomes an actual legitimate product, you know? And I think that's freaking awesome. I think that's the best possible decision they could have made. Because I agree, if they had kept going the same way, it would have gotten old. It would have lost its luster. It wouldn't have been as funny and exciting and interesting, because you'll have seen it at that point. It's like they can only do so much. by changing things up in just the right ways, they allow that concept to still remain fresh, because Saitama still can defeat anything in one punch. That concept still remains fresh, but it's not the focus at the moment anymore. The focus is on other things. It's on Garo and his character. We have an antagonist who has actual deep character. It focuses on the Monster Association's arrival and their looming threat that actually feels threatening. Because even with Saitama, he can't be everywhere at once. He can't stop all of these monsters everywhere at once. So this feels like a legitimate threat, even in a world where Saitama exists. We get all of these characters and get more to them. We get characters we've already met and get them developed on. They're building with these elements that we've already been introduced to. They're making something of them. And that's exactly what they needed to do. When I keep saying constantly, pretty much every reaction, that One Punch Man Season 2 is better than Season 1, this is why. Like, I admit, the art and animation, definitely not as good. I acknowledge that. The art and animation is definitely not as good. But it's fine. It serves its purpose. But the most important things, the story, the characters, all of that, far exceed Season 1. In every way. The entertainment factor even far exceeds Season 1 because of that. Because it's like good art and animation, and basically one joke will only take you too far. It'll only take you to a certain point. You have to have more than that. And this show clearly understands that at this point. So that's why I keep saying pretty much every week that Season 2 is better, and I stand by that. And here's the thing, that is still just my opinion. If you think Season 1 was better, if you liked it better, that's fine. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying that's like any objective fact or anything. That's just how I view it. But yeah, so this episode we're probably going to get more with Garo. I don't think we're going to get a lot more with the Monster Association and their entire message to the Hero Association. I don't think we're going to get a lot of that this time around. Excuse the dog. I don't know what she's barking at now. But we're definitely going to be going into some pretty good stuff as always. So, that being said, we're just going to get this going. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so another fantastic episode. We continue the fight of Garo taking on the heroes, and at first he's definitely losing, but then he starts to get the upper hand as he starts kind of strategizing how to take them out in more of a smart way, which is great, by the way. Then, of course, after that, Genos comes in. And so he fights Garo for a bit, and Garo is clearly overpowered and completely just outmatched at this point. Just because of his injuries and stuff. Though he does start to go into a watchdog stance, which is interesting. He starts trying to fight like Watchdog Man, which does throw, I almost said Garo. Garo throws Garo off. No, Garo throws Genos off. But then Bang and Bomb come in, and everything just kind of starts over again. It's like 3 different stages of this fight. And it's like, I'm okay with that. It's like, it's fine. I'm just wondering if eventually Saitama is going to come in as well and end it just like that. So there's a couple other things to really talk about. This episode did a lot to do, as I said at the beginning and everything. In my pre-thoughts, I mentioned how Garo is given a lot of character, how he's not just some random villain, like season 1 did a lot of. No, he actually has depth to him. And we see a lot more of that in this episode, seeing more about his backstory on how he not really admired monsters, but felt sorry for them, because he felt like that they were always getting the bad rap. Like, heroes were always like praised and everything, and monsters, it's like, no, it couldn't be a fair fight. It couldn't be a proper match or anything. Monsters were always seen as lesser. And Garo had always felt like that was unfair. He always thought that was not okay, that it didn't really reflect the attitude of someone heroic to put someone else down because they're different, basically. And the thing is, it's a twisted like sense of justice, because the idea behind it isn't wrong. The idea behind it about thinking that everyone should be treated equally and thinking that it's wrong that these heroes are putting down someone lesser than them, the idea behind that is fine. In fact, it's great. But it's a twisted version of it. It's twisted in how he goes about basically spreading that ideology. So yeah, it's really fascinating. But yeah, like I said, they're giving him so much depth and everything in a way that One Punch Man just hadn't done in season 1. Like, even Lord Boros did not have as much depth and character as Garo does. Now, we also see that once this kid, who we'd seen interacting with Garo multiple times now, once he realizes that Garo is the villain here, he just runs for it. Garo is someone who he's had multiple encounters with now, and has even kind of, in a way, befriended, as I've stated. But he sees what Garo truly is now. He sees him as a monster, a villain, and he just kind of runs away, which is fair. I mean, very fair, considering what happened. But it's like, that is one of the most fascinating parts of season 2. The relationship between Garo and that kid. And I really hope that it comes back at some point. I really hope that Garo does come in contact with this kid again at some point. That would be kind of cool. Basically, I don't want the gag to be over. Now, we finally got something that had also been built up to, and that, of course, was the confrontation between Bang and Garo. This is something that had been built up to all season up to now, so I'm glad we're finally getting into that as well. And it's kind of leaning towards them having their big fight in the next episode. I don't know how far that fight will go or anything, but yeah. Now, as I said in the reaction, Garo sees his old master. He sees Silverfang as his biggest threat because he knows Silverfang. He knows Silverfang is the number 3 ranked hero. He knows his skill. He knows that Silverfang knows his skill. So he knows that Silverfang won't take him lightly, and he knows that he's going to be a legitimate threat. However, like I said, Tatsumaki would wreck Garo. And it's not, I'm not just saying this because I love Tatsumaki. I'm not just saying this because she's my favorite character in the show. She would. She would destroy him. Because the thing is, all she'd have to do is basically come out of nowhere, use her psychic powers, wreck his shit, and it would be over, especially in his current condition. But the thing is, Garo here, the thing with Garo is he's a martial artist. He's a combatant, and he knows how to deal with that. He knows how to deal with weapons, but psychic powers is something he hasn't had to deal with. Very, very few people seem to be espers. It seems to be pretty damn rare, so it's not something he's had to deal with. How is he going to be able to deal with someone who's as strong as Tatsumaki? It's just, it's not logical to think that he would still stand a chance. Saitama's one thing because, again, Saitama is the strongest being in existence. That is literally his character. So Saitama is one thing, but Garo is not that strong in comparison. He's excessively strong, but he's not going to be able to, he wouldn't be able to just stop Tatsumaki just like that. Tatsumaki also doesn't hold back. We've seen this before. She does not hold back, not even against her sister's Blizzard group. So she's not going to give Garo the chance. She's just going to wreck his shit right off the bat. She's not going to waste her time testing him or going slow right from the beginning. Like the Death Gatling guy. Like, he wasn't using his full ability right from the beginning. He only used it at the end by, of course, firing all of his shots, which was honestly not the smartest idea, but but Tatsumaki wouldn't do that. I mean, even Genos wasn't using his full power right away. I mean, that's obvious. Tatsumaki would. She might stop herself from killing him, but that's about it. She would still wreck his shit. She would not be afraid to break his bones. She would not be afraid to seriously, like, endanger him in terms of his physical well-being. I don't think that he would be able to stop her. But again, the reason why he's saying that Silverfang is his biggest threat is, again, because he knows Silverfang. And he knows that Silverfang knows him. So, that's how he's viewing it. The action in this was actually great. I think it was some of the best action in the season so far. Some people have said that the action is one of its weaker points because the art and animation isn't as good. And I can see what they're saying. The art and animation, again, isn't as good. It's just not. But I thought the action has been pretty good this entire season, with a couple of obvious standout moments. I mean, yeah, I said the action, right? And well, the animation has had a couple standout moments too. But the action has been good, with a couple of moments that have been great or even amazing. This is one of those. This was one of those moments. The fight specifically between Genos and Garo was so excellently done. Can't wait to see where else they go with that. But yeah, at the end here, we're definitely kind of leading up to the confrontation between Silverfang and Garo, and I'm really excited for that. Because, again, it had been built up. Now, the thing about Garo, like, running the blood through his hair to dye it is weird to me. It is really weird to me. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to seeing him with the red hair, and it's a little distracting. It's not even, like, comparable to a power-up, like Super Saiyan or anything. All he did was rub blood through his hair. It doesn't make him more powerful. It doesn't weaken his opponents or anything. It doesn't do anything. So, I don't know. I don't know. But I am excited to see where this goes. The season has been great, and yeah, I am definitely on board with this upcoming fight. My only question is, like I said, will Saitama come in and just take care of him in like one slap or something? I guess we'll have to see. For the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of One Punch Man Season 2. And thank you all so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,